All right, Kirk. So, hey, before we get started, let's just chat it up real quick. Video game month starting, so video game characters, we'll do that.
Yeah, I got my list ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to. So we'll go through our Rushmores before we'll introduce
What's our plan
guests.
of attack? What's our plan of attack for today?
So let's go through the Rushmores, and then let's just like normal. And then I was thinking for our second segment, we could do something like "Who's Your George?" Right?
Oh,
Something
bring in
like
Who's Your
that.
George?
Leroy Jenkins.
What the heck, Paul? Oh my gosh!
You ruin everything.
Ridiculous, man. Welcome to the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Kirk, hey, we are starting a brand new theme this month, and I am so thrilled about this. What are we talking about this month, Kirk?
Well, as you can see in the background, man, I got my video games out. I'm ready to talk some gaming action, throwing down just one of my favorite hobbies. It was in my hobbies episode 4 or 5. Man, I just love video games. Love video games so much that I almost, coming right out of the military, decided to go be in video game design and computer animation. I love games. Quit kind of watching and playing games when I really was getting married and whatever. But I still game. I got the Switch going on. I play a lot on my phone. But actually sitting down and playing some of these classics, it doesn't happen very often. I dug all these out, and Cannon was like, his eyes were like big and wide. We're like, when can I start playing? So yeah, man, I love games. What about you?
Dude, I am thrilled for this one. I don't have quite the backdrop that you do with all of your games, but I am a huge fan of games. A huge part of my childhood was playing video games, and I try to every now and then. Now I've got daughters. It's kind of hard to find time to do that. I know that sounds like an excuse or whatever, but I do love games, and I'm very excited to get kicked off with this month, our video game month here. And look, hey, just like we've been doing every week, we're inviting a guest on, but this week we're doing it a little bit different than normal. This is the first week where we've had back-to-back the same guest 2 weeks in a row. We're welcoming back Paul Teegarden. It was so great on the
show. It's Link. Link's here.
Is that Paul? Is that
Hey,
Paul?
what's up, guys?
Dude,
what's going on?
Princess Zelda at?
Sleeping.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to conquer Ganon today.
Right. So, hey, Paul, thanks for being on. Hey, 2 weeks in a row. Your episode did so great last week. We're like, man, we got to bring Paul back on. It was just a great time hanging out. It is the
fastest growing episode ever. It is flying. At this moment, it has been number one for hours. We're in like day 2 or 3 of it posting, and we ain't seen one perform better. So we're like, gosh, let's get Paul on every week. It must be his charming looks. And then he comes like this. Kills the momentum, might increase the momentum. I don't know.
Yeah, so last month was all about movies. You were a fan of movies. We talked about, last week we talked about our franchises, right? You were our guest on that episode. This month, like we said, is all about video games. Obviously, based on what you're wearing right now and a lot of your backdrop behind you, you must be a pretty big fan of video games. But go ahead and tell the people, what's your fandom all about when it comes to video games?
Man, I play all video games. I have pretty much every console. I got the Xbox, I got Nintendos, I got PlayStations. I'm just huge video game enthusiast. I play shooters, I play adventure games, RPGs. It's just probably my biggest hobby and one of my bigger passions in my life.
One of the reasons we decided to do this, right, is we all are a product of these video games all the way back in the late 70s, early 80s when they started making this thing happen. Almost everybody has a little bit to do with it. But the best time to play, I can remember as a kid, was it's summertime. And I'm just diving into those games, especially the ones that take forever, where I don't have to pause it because I have to go to school and come back. And, so now I remember summertime, like there were two things that were happening in summertime. I was going to be outside playing, baseball, stickball, football, whatever, or I was going to be dug into an adventure role-playing game or something. And so I thought video games would be a great topic. And that's just where we're going with this. And how better to start? How better to start? We got our cosplayer here, we got cosplay going on.
Video games are they're fun, and they're things you can do with your family. The nostalgia's there. Dude,
wait till your kids are grown, man. Wait till they grow up and you get to do those things with them. It's so much.
I have very fond memories of being 5 years old, 6 years old, playing with my dad on the original Nintendo. That's where my love for gaming really kind of took hold.
Right here. That's my original Nintendo, my original Super Nintendo, my original GameCube. These two right here, Xbox 360. Both of those, I have the evil red ring of death, I believe.
Oh, man.
They're paperweights.
Those two I tried turning them on and I couldn't get them to work. I was like, what? And then obviously the Wii and the Switch is where we went for family time, because that is, where the kids can kind of all jump in and play. And it's been a fantastic time. But
I love it. I love it, man. So, hey, look, we are going to kick off this video game month talking about our Rushmore of video game characters. So today it's all about who is your top 4 video game characters. So, hey, look, let's not delay it anymore. Let's go ahead and get into our Rushmores.
Let's go. All right, Rushmore Show, here we go. It is time to start June off right with our video game characters before Leroy Jenkins or Lincoln Roy Jenkins jumped on in here and interrupted us this morning. We figured out that that Andy was going to go first, I'd go second, and our guest, old Link back there, would jump in and finish off the train. But yeah, okay, here we go, Andy. How are you building your mountain? What's the criteria of video game characters? Was this a difficult one? I know they all are, but they all have their different kind of ways. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so I changed my list probably, I'm not even kidding, probably 15 times. I probably changed my list. Or people, characters were kind of in and out, moving and all that. But it was definitely difficult for me. I mentioned that I don't really play them a lot now, but as a kid, I was all about them, right? And that'll reflect kind of in the characters as I go through, and you'll see that. So my criteria, really kind of what it boiled down to, it's pretty simple, right? These are characters that I chose to play with, right? I chose to be. So some games, you can pick between certain characters or whatever. These are the people that I go to.
I love what you're thinking.
These are the characters that I go to. So if you get to choose your character, right? Some of these games you don't necessarily choose your character, but it's the main character. So it's just the person that you are. But these are the games that I would choose. So I go back early 90s, early mid 90s kind of thing. That was where, I'm playing the games, even into the early 2000s and stuff. And even, I want to play old games. I just want to keep doing that, right? I mentioned last month, movies, I rewatched them 1,000 times. I do the same thing with video games. I'm not all about all the new ones, but I want to keep replaying the classics. It's just my favorite thing to do. So really, honestly, that might have been my only criteria. But even with that said, it was difficult to narrow it down to 4. There's so many that should absolutely be on my list, but when I just thought about who did I keep going back to, this is who it was. So that's my criteria, and I'm going to go ahead and get into my Rosie right now. One of my favorite games growing up, and even continue now, they continue to make these games. They release, I don't even know how many different editions of it and different versions, I guess, whatever you want to call it, of this game. But I'm going to bring you to Street Fighter. Okay, so Street Fighter, the series of games is great, but who is my go-to character? Who is almost anybody's go-to character when you're playing this? I'm going to be Blanca. Blanca is my pick. I see you trying to do the Shoryuken, right? But no, I picked Blanca. bro, as a kid, like the shock and all that kind of stuff, so cool, so cool. I just liked, in X-Men, I really liked Beast, and he kind of felt like Beast or Wolverine kind of the Street Fighter world to me. I liked his level. So he's in Brazil. He's at like this weird dock, fish market type thing or whatever that he's at. His long flowing hair. Actually, Paul, you might have been at this show. So, and maybe you remember this, but
I do.
My band, we always played Halloween shows. Every year we played a Halloween show, and I actually talked about it in the tag team episode.
Legion of Doom, baby, Legion of Doom.
So I was me and Dennis, who also was on the show before. We dressed up as Legion of Doom, but we played another show one year, and we all dressed up as Street Fighter characters, and I was Blanca, right? So I got this green shirt and put this orange felt on my chest, like the weird chest hair that he has and everything, and like had this big orange wig and all that kind of stuff. So I was Blanca, but I love Blanca. You know what else I really liked about Street Fighter, but Blanca in general, is that when you would play and choose that character, you could also choose like the alternate look for them. So you can have like the gray Blanca with the red hair, or you can have like the blue Blanca with the purple hair, whatever, right? Any kind of weird combination of color. So Blanca is my Rosie, my number one. That's what I'm going to go to when I'm playing Street Fighter. And look, there was a few other actually Street Fighter characters that didn't make my list that were back and forth. But when it came down to it, I just said, I'm always going to go with Blanca. That's kind of my pick there. So my Rosie, what do you guys think?
Dude, I love Street Fighter. That is a staple in my house as far as video games go. I love fighting style games. Blanca would be probably in my top 3 favorite or so from that. I would have went Ryu. I'm doing that, yeah. Or I would have maybe done Guile. But
Sonic
Blanca,
Boom.
Yeah, my favorite part about Blanca, he's one of a couple characters, E Honda, Chun-Li. If you were young and you weren't really good and you were just a button masher, you could do the electricity like over and over and over.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
And then actually his barrel roll, both of them were just up, down, and left, right. So those were fairly easy to do as well, as opposed to the half circles and the full circles, which were tough. I like him. I like his story, is like a plane crash in Brazil. The whole background is cool. And when you're like 10 or 12, Canon does this all the time. Canon will be, if he goes to pick a character or like a superhero or whatever it is, there's nothing about backstory or where he's from or who. It's always how does he look. And if he looks menacing and cool and just like mean as heck and strong, that's the guy he wants. And so
absolutely.
I can remember back then I would pick Blanca a lot.
I think my favorite one from there is probably Guile. Yeah. That one, or Chun-Li, because I like to spam kick it. You know what I'm saying? But I remember that show, and I honestly thought that might be one on your top 4 Rushmore because of that show.
Yeah.
So he's actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in like the second Street Fighter. They have the character Charlie. Mm-hmm. I think Charlie is Blanca.
Yeah.
So
I believe so. Yeah.
It's the cool thing about Street Fighter is there's a lot of backstory that if you look into it, you can get, and that is always a big plus with games for me. So, good pick.
Awesome.
It's a great pick.
So there we go.
Start.
Starting it off, Kirk. Let's get your Rosie and let me know what's your criteria. How did you pick your Rushmore?
So it's real simple. Immediately when we said video game characters, who are the first guys that pop in my mind? I X'd off a few. I thought about my favorite games or franchises. So I'm going to take probably the main character from that. And then I thought of a couple things. One, Super Smash Brothers, where they bring in multiple players, right? And when we go into multiple, Mario Kart, when they bring multiple players, like these games that are kind of like a combination of other games and they bring them in, who is the guy that I'm always going to? So, I mean, certain guys can be really cool, but if I never pick them and the opportunity to play them, I'm probably not going with those guys. I see Paul's got Smash Brothers going back there with a couple characters. So, I mean, I would never, I just saw Ness. I'm never picking Ness, dude. I'm just not picking him. So he's not going to be on my characters. Spoiler alert. Those were some of the criteria. And then in the main one was literally, what are my favorite games? This is where I'm going. And so if I'm going to be honest, spoiler alert, I don't know. I probably can release this. Most of mine are coming from Nintendo and PlayStation because those are the two main systems that I played. As you can see, these first two layers are all PlayStation and the last three are all Nintendo. Only a small section of Xbox and Xbox One. Like I loved all video games, but I consistently played those. So that's where I went. A lot of Nintendo guys, a lot of PlayStation guys, and I mean even Genesis and stuff. I mean, I loved those games back in the day. I'm not anything really past PlayStation 2. I've played PS3 and 4 and even 5, but that's not my go-to. I'm not dumping a whole lot of money into those games, so I don't know a lot of those new characters, but I do love them. I watch them on YouTube all the time, honestly. So here we go. Without further ado, I'm going to start off really super, super boring. And I had to do it. I'm thinking Rosie. I'm like, who is going to be my Rosie? There were a couple guys. I thought of the Street Fighters. I saw Mortal Kombat behind me a little while ago. I saw that. It's a couple of those fighting games. Who am I going to pick from each one? And I kind of was like, man, I love all these guys kind of equally. I'm not going to be able to pick between those guys. So I kind of eliminated a lot of those. But there was one guy that I just kept going back to and going, how can I not have this guy on my list? And then I went to his franchise and thought, which character can I pick? And I can't pick anybody but the main guy. So I'm going to go right off the bat with Mario. And
come on. Yeah.
Dude, look, it was real easy for, I kept knocking him off and I'm like, nah, it can't be Mario. But here's the thing. Mario games in general basically was the catalyst to go into the next generation. I mean, look, I've got a couple of them here. The original Dr. Mario. I mean, he was in all kinds of things. I was talking about Mario Kart. He's in Super Smash Brothers. I don't necessarily pick Mario. I do pick a couple characters that I'm going to say here in a little bit in those games. Here's the thing. Mario, to me, is a staple. Everybody knows him. Here's the thing. If I walked out into any mall, any shopping center, any park, and I go, tell me the most famous video game characters. Mario's going to be in the running, right? And so it's going to be a guy. Like if I showed a picture of Mario and in like a whole bunch of other people are going to be like, oh, that's Mario. And I mean, it's a video game, right? And even if they didn't play games, he just has a lot going on. Then they went to the Super Nintendo, Mario World, Mario All-Stars. I mean, I've got so many Mario games, got the new one on Switch, and they're not the best games always, but I consistently go back. They're very fun to play with the family. They're very memorable. I mean, he's the referee in Punch-Out. He's the referee in tennis. He's everywhere. He is the flagship for Nintendo, and Nintendo is my favorite. So there you go. I went real simple. I would try to eliminate him. I really wanted to be like, no, I'm not going to take those guys because that is too easy. But it was too hard not to put him on there. So I'm going to go Super Mario for my Rosie, and that's just it.
I think that's a great pick. I don't think you need to explain it much more than that, or feel bad that you kept him on your list. It is probably the most iconic video game character of all time. I mean, hands down. There's no way. Yeah, it's a great pick. Mario is a great pick. Love it.
And
really, yeah, you don't have to say a whole lot
Brothers,
about
the cartoon. I mean, Captain Lou Albano. I mean, like, dude, I love that cartoon as a kid. Now we're going to talk about this throughout this month. It is probably the worst video game movie in the history of video game movies.
You shut your mouth right now.
It's so fun. It is.
Dude,
I love that movie.
Those Koopas are nightmare fuel, man.
Bro, look, whenever they dance in the elevator.
I'm gonna be honest. I almost took Bowser because look, in Mario Kart I usually go Bowser, right? And those kind of things. But Bowser in that movie just drives me crazy. Like, God, I love that guy as an actor, but that's not Bowser. It's a multiverse movie. It's in another universe.
There's the original multiverse.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well,
all right. So look, there it is. There it is. Real easy. I probably shocked everybody because I went so easy because I don't normally do that. So Paul, I am excited. You're in full gear. I'm assuming just by what I'm looking at that you have 4 Legend of Zelda characters that you're about to name out, and you're going the whole franchise. But no.
I
Tell me
could.
what you were thinking when you put that outfit on earlier today, and then tell me.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking. I hope I fit in it. This costume's like 7 years old, man.
Oh,
this was
You got a little baby weight?
I'm at 2 kids and a marriage ago.
All right. So, hey, what's your criteria? How'd you pick?
All right. Criteria is I had to have played the games. I didn't necessarily had to have played the characters. I can think of one is not someone that you play, but I just loved it so much. And the nostalgia factor is a big thing. And the replayability of the game kind of plays into the replayability or me liking the character so much.
Right.
You know, you spend more time with them.
Yeah.
So all of that kind of, and to start it off, surprise, surprise, it's a Rushmore. It's a Mario.
What?
Nice.
Mario's, he's got to be on there, all right? You know, he's got to be somewhere on there. I thought I was going to be having him early, you know, but then Kirk also had him at the 4 spot. I have my top 3. They were always going to be there. They may have moved around a little bit, but they just are either just awesome characters or funny characters. And then Mario, I try to knock him off the list, and you just can't. I mean, there's over 200 Mario games. The dude does everything. He's a doctor. He's a tennis player. He's a golfer. He's a referee, like you said, Kurt. He races go-karts. Like, he does everything.
Mario Party. Dude, this is one of the best games for a family or people coming over.
And I went and visited my friend in Washington, and we, like, at all the things we could do, because, you know, they flew us up there to go hang out with them for a week. We probably spent like 12 hours just playing Mario Party, man. It's just so much fun.
Or Paper Mario, or Mario RPG, or all the iterations of the new ones. I mean, there's just Planet Mario or whatever, Galaxy.
Yeah, I used to actually speed run. I haven't done this in like forever.
You're a speed run.
I used to speed. No, only this one because I was pretty good at it. The original Mario, I could do it in about 7 minutes. Super Mario 3, best Mario ever, hands down.
Come on. Thank you.
I will. I don't know the word I want to use. I'll give you that. I'll approve that word.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, good pick. I like it. Got a Rushmore already. Nice.
Now look,
you guys.
Paul, this is 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 that we've matched. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start going first so that I don't look like I'm copying you.
Okay.
Oh, good one. Okay, so hey, we're on to we're through the Rosies, right? We're gonna move on to TJ.
So TJ Jazzy Jeff.
So my TJ Jazzy Jeff, man, I'm gonna make this a triple Rushmore.
Let's go!
We're going with Mario. You can't not have Mario, and for every reason that you guys mentioned. But I'm gonna probably cheat a little bit because it's more than just the character. The whole series of games, the music from the games is phenomenal. It's some of the most, all of the, just everything that is involved with it. And actually, going way back to Donkey Kong original, you've got Mario in that. So, but let me tell you this, and we didn't do this because I thought, I mean, game characters is kind of broad too, but we talked about doing just games in general, but like that was so hard to narrow it down. But if we were to do a Rushmore of video games, there are 2 Mario games that have a huge shot of making that Rushmore. And you're talking just that, Super Mario Brothers, right? Like that. But then also Super Mario 64 was one of my favorite. You would
Spoiler alert.
into the. You would jump into, hey, we're going to talk about 64 later. But you jump into the pictures. Everything's like 3D. So it was just like this new look on.
He like ran all funny in that one. He was like,
it kind of felt like an open world like thing early on in that. I mean, obviously there was limitations in it. You didn't go everywhere. And then you mentioned Mario Party. Mario Party is one of my favorite games to play. Just like you said, with a group of people, with your family. Mario Kart is, and look, you said it, you don't always pick him. I did pick Mario in Mario Kart. I don't know why. And normally I don't pick like the main guy there for it, but Mario, he's just so good. And I could keep talking, but you guys have already kind of said.
So here's one of the things about Mario for me. Like Mario is just, he's kind of like the boring guy, right? But I'm going to be honest, Mario 2, I never picked Mario. 0 times.
Well,
0 times Mario. It's either Princess or Luigi. I need that far jump. I'm not picking Mario. So that was one of the reasons I almost took him off, because there's a time where I literally don't pick him. But he
also, Super Mario 2 gets a lot of hate, but I love that game. I don't know what it is. It's so different from all the other Marios.
Doki Doki Panic. That's the real name of that game, Doki Doki Panic.
It wasn't a Mario game, right? Wasn't it not?
No, it was like a little. It was like a kind of like a Prince of Persia type guy. It was like Aladdin. It was called Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah,
and they changed it over when it came from Japan. And so
when you start that game, and you're like just falling, and you go all the way to the right of the screen, and you're like, oh, he's here now, and you're like, wait, whoa, this. I don't know. As a kid, it was
dude.
Really
it was
cool.
like the most fun thing to make him just keep going.
Right. All right, so I love Mario, and hey, triple Crushmore right off the bat.
Triple Crushmore already.
Right off the bat.
Already. So 3 out of our first 4 mentions is Mario.
Yes,
so I almost went Luigi. I almost went Bowser.
Could have done it.
Yoshi, but I had to go with Mario. So look, I love that. I approve. Certified right there. All right, so look, I'm going to jump into my TJ Jazzy Jeff, and here's the thing. I when this came up, I knew 3 guys right off the bat. Like, that's my favorite term, right off the bat. I knew all 3. Just kind of what order do I want to put them in? I am going to go with Rockman, better known as Mega Man.
Nice.
And that is going to be my TJ Jazzy Jeff. So Mega Man, dude, I played this game probably more than any game in the history. Look, my name's still on the side of it right here on most of them. I mean, this is my original copy from like 1985, and I probably played this thing, I don't know, I most of my life on this thing. I remember Mega Man was so awesome. I play him in whenever he's a playable character in other games. I've had other renditions when they went 3D with him in Mega Man Legends or all these other things. But I always would go to these games, which were the first 4 or 5. You had Mega Man X, and then you got he was literally a robot that had like a cannon. And then whenever if any of you guys out there that are watching never played this game, basically you would beat a boss. The boss would be really like they really went to the drawing board to name these guys. It'd be like Missile Man, and he shoots missiles.
Yeah.
Wood Man, and he's throwing wood at you. I mean, well, he throws leaves, but he's built like wood. But Heat Man was a Zippo lighter, basically. I mean, but when you beat him, you got his powers. And dude, I just love the concept. I remember as a little kid, this is probably, I don't know, 10 years old. When I first started thinking about designing video games, I always tried to make a Mega Man game. So I would design, Couchman and whatever, and just what would his superpower be? Throwing cushions and whatever, and I'd draw them all up, and like that was one of my favorite things to do, was to draw up new Mega Man characters and what their guys would be. Mega Man is my guy, and then he was also in Captain N, the Game Master cartoon. He was awesome there. I just love Mega Man. So there he is. Mega Man's going to be my TJ Jazzy Jeff. There's the first 4 of the originals. Yep. What do you guys think about that one?
Boom. Good pick.
That's
Good pick.
Awesome pick.
Dude, I thought it was funny how they named the villains I forgot about that until you just mentioned that.
Bubble Man,
I haven't played
Pharaoh Man, and
Right.
Hard Man. That was
Hard Man. I love it. So
I don't know if you watch anime or not or anything like that, but I think one of Mega Man's people, Dustman, is actually an inspiration for One Punch Man.
Really?
The guy
I never
who
put those two together.
The guy who draws for One Punch Man is the one who submitted the thing for Dustman back in the day.
Nice.
He did that.
Well, that's a good little tidbit I didn't know. So I know One Punch Man. I'm not huge in anime, but I do dabble every once in a while. So I don't like follow it completely. So I know exactly who that guy is. He's always like in the running of the most powerful characters ever in history of whatever. Yeah, Dustman, he's cool too. He looks like a big like a big AC vent or something. Like, and he just
Good one. Good pick.
There you go. Starting off. There we go.
Paul, let's move to your TJ.
Right.
What's your TJ?
TJ Jazzy Jeff. This is the only non-playable character on my list. I am going with GLaDOS. I don't know if you've ever played Portal, but it is the antagonist for Portal. It's one of the only villains that will make a list probably, but she is just so funny. She's just this narcissistic, passive aggressive, almost kind of really evil thing in the first game. You kind of don't really know why. Like, she starts out just kind of helping you along, and then you kind of start to see that all of her little things or the puzzles and experiments she's putting the main character through are all designed to kill her. You don't even hear the main character throughout the whole thing. The only actual voice, or one of the only voices you hear, is the bad guy, GLaDOS. But she's just funny. Like, the lines in it, they're unique, they're quotable.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't she like a robot or something?
She is a robot.
A program or something?
She's GLaDOS actually stands for Genetic Life Form and Disk Operating System.
Yeah. See,
she is a robot.
I never played this game. I've obviously seen it. Portal, it goes down in probably most lists, top 20, 25 game. It could even be higher if you kind of go genre style, like of that type of game. It's up higher. But so I know the game. I know the even premise of the game with the portals and all that stuff. But I've never had an opportunity to play this game. And so I'm glad you put it on there. But I do remember the character. Seeing it in like magazines or whatever, wasn't it like a camera or something?
It's almost like if you look at it, it almost looks like a bound woman. Like she's hanging upside down. It is just a camera with an eye. Oh, yeah. But, you know, I don't want to spoil it if you plan on going and playing through. But like you find out in the second game that GLaDOS was at one point actually a real person.
Yeah.
And they put her AI into this machine. So like there's a whole lot to it. Also, bonus, you know, you get songs whenever you beat the game sung by GLaDOS. So
we love music. So that's a good pick because I know Portal is a very good game. It's a very good game. It's just not one that I've had an opportunity to dabble into. But it's a puzzle game, right? And so it's like you kind of like strategically have to figure out all these different places to go. How to use the portals to get from one spot to another. And I love those kind of games.
So as you're saying it, I'm looking it up like on my phone because when you said it, I'm like, I don't even know what he's talking about, but it does look cool. And I feel like I vaguely sort of have heard of that before, but I don't know. But hey, great pick.
It put the Valve company on the map, the game itself, and it was kind of a little before its time. But I think anybody would like it, whether you like puzzle games or not. Just GLaDOS, like you'll keep playing. I showed my wife a little video of it. She's never played it, and she was just laughing at what the AI was saying. So it's just funny, and I like comedy.
She's kind of smart alecky, huh? She's kind of like
big time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, that's a great pick, man. That is a great pick. I hope some other people crush it with you because I know that game's cool. That's one of those ones. I'm not into video game collecting completely now that I'm gone, but I have like looked back. I watch like YouTubers that do it, and that's always one of those that's on my list of kind of like bucket list to get because I want to play it. So good choice. So look, we're halfway through. And Andy, we're building the other half of the mountain. So we've got Link and we've got George. Who are you going with now?
Yep. So this character is. Well, let me just say this. This franchise of games is my favorite of all time. Favorite, period. It doesn't make my George of characters for a different reason, but I think making the Rushmore in general is a lot to say there too. Especially since mine has kind of changed a lot. But my favorite game of all time when I was a kid was Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is my favorite. I love Donkey Kong Country. I love DK64. I love all of the things. I love Diddy Kong Racing. I don't even care, right? Like I
picking
love
Donkey Kong and Mario Kart.
But I did mention when I said Mario that I pick Mario a lot. The other character that I pick is Donkey Kong. I love Donkey Kong. It was so much so that, and it was like Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3. I had it on Game Boy. I had it on everything that I could. I remember where every like secret barrel was, right? And you play with your friends and like, no, why are we jumping on this cliff? I'm like, I promise you, there's a bash the baddies right here. We can get in here and we can get shot up and we can get all the coins, right? Or whatever. When I got Nintendo Wii, I got the Donkey Kong Country for Nintendo Wii, and I thought that was a really cool one, how you can like do this and you can, tap the ground.
Oh, the little bongo drum things.
Or there was that one too. Yeah, so that's another one. So I played it all kinds of different ways. I love Donkey Kong. One of my favorite characters. Also, I like that doesn't really say much, but he's got an iconic gorilla grunt or whatever you want to call it. So DK, Donkey Kong. I also remember, this is funny, I would go to anybody, I know we probably all went to book fairs as a kid, right? Like you remember getting like the magazine, the catalog for the book fair at school, and you would circle like, oh yeah, mom, send me $6 so I can grab this one. I always got the learn how to draw the blank, whatever. Like those were my favorite books to get. Yeah. And I think I had like 4 learn how to draw the Donkey Kong characters. Like I had so many of them, whether it was the evil ones, whether it was Diddy Kong, Donkey Kong, all of them, the Kremlins or whatever. Yeah. So all of that, I love that game. It's my favorite game of all time is Donkey Kong Country. And it will never change. That is my favorite game of all time. Although it did not make my George of characters, which is another special character to me. But I love it. Donkey Kong. What are your guys' thoughts on Donkey Kong?
I mean, I think I kind of knew where you were going with that one because you've done it before. Well, you've done it before. You've mentioned it to me before, maybe not even on this show, but you've talked about Donkey Kong Country and kind of that being some of your favorite games.
Let me say this too, real quick. The hardest level on any game that I remember was the underwater levels for Donkey Kong Country. Having to constantly stay afloat, like you have to keep tapping it. And if you would hit the sea urchin, you die or whatever. Hated it, man. And the thing about Donkey Kong Country too, it's like you get hit one time and you are out. Like, and then hopefully you were second player or whatever, Diddy could go find a barrel to save you, and then you tap in. Anyway, I love the game. And I also love that you can get all of the different animals along the way. You can be a rhino, you can be a swordfish, all of that stuff.
As far as Donkey Kong goes, I love those games. My favorite Donkey Kong rendition is Donkey Kong Classic on Nintendo. It's probably that orange game right up there. Boom, right there. But you played like Donkey Kong 1, 2, and 3 from the originals. So obviously the one where you kind of go up, which is kind of boring. But then you play one with like Donkey Kong Jr. and he's like going vine to vine to vine. Dude, I love that game for some reason. When I was a kid, I played it nonstop. And I remember I had to actually look it up. Donkey Kong had a 80s cartoon.
Donkey Kong.
And it must not have run very long because I remember I was like, was it on the Mario cartoon? but it wasn't. It was a Donkey Kong cartoon, and I don't know how long it ran, but I pulled it up, and all I could find was like a meme of it or whatever. But yeah, I remember that and watching that distinctly. Donkey Kong's a cool character. I do pick him quite often in Mario Kart. Not my go-to. Cannon picks him all the time. Cannon's favorite animal are monkeys, so we have all kinds of stuffed monkeys and everything. And whenever we play Super Mario Kart on the Switch, whichever rendition that is, like Mario Kart 8 or something, he always picks Donkey Kong. So
I'm finding that I have a lot in common with Cannon. That's what I'm really learning. Blanca, Donkey Kong, yeah, we got me and Cannon.
Mario, Mario. He loves Mario.
There you go. Awesome.
I think if your band ever does another Halloween show, I think I need to see you as Donkey Kong.
Dude, well, just letting you know, I have a full-on gorilla suit. It's black, though. It wouldn't match, but it's a black. All you need red tie, Donkey Kong. Yeah,
great one. All right, Kirk, where are we going for your link? Where are you taking us with your video game characters?
My link. I really tried not to make Link, but I couldn't. I had to.
You did it. You went for it.
I did it. And Link is going to be Link, baby.
Nice.
So the original golds, freaking this game right here. I kind of begged my wife to get the Switch. I hadn't been buying video games for a while. Begged her to get it for the family because I really wanted to play this game. and I played it, and I played hours of it. And I am such a completist when it comes to video games. I had to get every shrine. I had to get every single Korok seed, every single whatever I could possibly learn. Then we talked about speed running earlier. I'm watching people speed run this thing, and I'm like, where they pause and hit the arrow and then undo using their stat. Whatever. I'm not that good at it. I do enjoy all the Link. There is not one Zelda game that I can really go, yeah, I don't like playing that one. There are some that were worse than others. Like I got Link's Awakening for this, but Ocarina of Time. But number one, the George is Link to the Past, Super Nintendo. It's probably the George of the Super Nintendo games. Link is it. I almost put Ganon. I could have picked everybody from this series and put in this game, in my top 4. Link, I didn't intentionally make him Link. It just so happened to fall. I knew he was going to be number 2 because my number 1 has to be number 1. But I love this series. These are the style games I love to play. And anything that is copied from a Zelda game, like Secret of Mana or Chrono Trigger or any of these games that just want to be kind of open world and kind of like gathering and fighting and collecting and then using that to do, dude, I am all over them. So my Link is going to be Link.
There you go. Great one. So I like. Well, yeah,
it's gonna be Paul.
Paul is on your Rushmore.
Lincoln Roy.
I remember playing that game a lot with my neighbor. My neighbor was a big video gamer too, so I'd go over to his house and play all the time. And I wasn't as much of a fan. I mean, I liked it. I wouldn't say was my favorite of all time, but I do remember Wind Waker, that game, the animation on it just being really cool. I'm like, this is different. They've tried something different.
One of the coolest things I've ever So this is one of the things. This is kind of like when you talk about Star Wars or you talk about any of these other kind of genres, and people are like, it doesn't fit the canon. It doesn't go along with what they're already doing, right? I never think. I guess I'm not that smart to where I can think like when I see something go, well, that doesn't make sense because 17 movies ago or video games ago, this happened. And I just don't ever put it together. But I never in my wildest dreams thought that all of these Zeldas were kind of in the same storyline. They were just like different, whatever. And then I watched like a freaking 2-hour movie the other day on YouTube. I said the other day, a couple months ago, and it showed where they all are in the same, like,
it's all one timeline.
Well, actually, there's 3 timelines, right? And 3 different things. I was
it starts as 1 and then it branches into 3.
Multiverse again. Here we go. But look, I was blown away. I was like, wait, Wind Waker is the same. This isn't just this is a guy that just making another story with the same characters. No. And I was like, this is wild. I don't even know if it was fan fiction or if it was for real, but
it's for real. I have a Zelda encyclopedia somewhere.
Dude, it's crazy to me. And I cannot wait to play Breath of the Wild Part 2. I'm dying to play it.
Well, Paul, I don't want to ruin everything you're more than likely going to say about Link later. So, but is there anything you do want to add right now to Kirk's pick here of Link?
I mean, I could probably talk on and on about it.
Well, yeah.
It's a great pick. I'm not going to complain, obviously. The timeline thing is so cool. You know, it starts off one timeline, and then you hit Ocarina of Time, I think, is where it splits. And it goes into 3 separate little timelines where it's either the hero dies, and then that shoots off right here, and there's this set of games, or the hero wins and stays a kid, and then that's this, or the hero wins and he's an adult, and it goes down. So it's 3 different timelines that come off of the one game, Ocarina of Time, which is the best Zelda game ever. Y'all can suck it. I know Breath of the Wild is amazing, but Ocarina of Time is what did it. So that's that.
Nice. You're a little heated on that, and that's okay. Obviously, very passionate.
I didn't say that Breath of the Wild was the best. I said Link to the Past was the best. Ocarina of Time is a fantastic game, and stay tuned for spoiler alert, 2 more weeks from now, and you'll see that I absolutely love that game too.
Yeah. All right, so Paul, let's move to your Link. Who's your number 2?
Right. So my number 2 was my number 1 until about 15 minutes ago.
Oh
and
my gosh!
There, going back and forth between my 1 and 2, and I had to make the switch because of one. My number 2 now, my Link there's more nostalgia with that than anything else, any other game, and I love it. But I just don't play as much as I play my number 1 now, so that's why I made the switch. So we are Crushmore again. My Link is Link.
Oh, you did it!
Gotta get it out the way. It had to happen. You know, it's the first game I can remember playing with my dad was the regular one, the Legend of Zelda. That first one, we would walk around bombing every single wall, just looking for the holes in the walls to get all the heart pieces. You know, because that's one of the best parts about Zelda is collecting all the stuff. You know, and then one of the first games we bought for the Super Nintendo was A Link to the Past, which was the best Zelda game until Ocarina of Time came. And then Ocarina of Time, man, that set the bar for every single adventure game that ever came out afterwards. That's the one that they're all held up to. And I guess I could talk more and more about this, man, but that would be a whole just Legend of Zelda Rushmore that we would have to do.
So here's my beef with Ocarina. It's not my beef. It's like my personal conviction.
Is it the water company?
Nintendo 64 is probably the only Nintendo I didn't own. I didn't own a 64. My best friends owned it. And when it came out, I was just going into the military. And in order for me to play all those 64 games, which I'm going to talk about later, I had to go over to his apartment. And so I didn't play through Ocarina till much later. I played it as a downloadable, actually, and played through it. And it's amazing. But then when you play it 15 years later, the graphics and everything don't hold up. I wish I would have played it when it was the perfect game. It was the best of the best. Because now when you look at it, when you play Breath of the Wild and you see what this looks like, and then you go play that, but the story is fantastic. And so I am all about it. It's up there. It's definitely up there. It's probably number 2 for me, to be honest. It's just not a game that I played a lot, but anything Link, dude, anything Link, I will play all of them. I remember the old Game Boy, the original Game Boy. The game was really kind of Mario-like. And I played that one. So, yeah, I mean, it's really cool.
I think, and there could have been a game that may have tied it, but I still think that Ocarina of Time is You know, like IGN and all of them, like they rank games when they come out. Ocarina of Time has the highest ranking of any game that's ever come out ever to this day.
Wow.
I know Chrono Trigger was pretty high. And I know even Majora's Mask was pretty high, if I remember correctly. Anyways, great pick. Obviously, I love that one. That's 2. And so, look, dude, we've only missed 2 out of 7. So, so here we go. Here we go. We only got one more left. And I kind of have a feeling you're not picking mine. I know you're not picking mine.
I don't think you're picking mine.
So there we go. There we go.
Okay.
And I know Andy's not picking my George. So Andy, what are you doing?
Okay, my number 1, my George. I cannot tell you how many blisters I had on my fingers as a kid.
I got blisters on me fingers!
Button mashing in this game. Played this with my uncle. So I have an uncle who is, not way older than me. Maybe 10 years, 8 years, something like that. So it was kind of that cool uncle, you know what I mean, that you hang out with. I was playing video games with him. And we would always either play Street Fighter, which I already mentioned in my Rosie. The second game that we would always play was Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a great game, but who's my character? Who is the one that I'm going to go with all the time? Get over here! Yeah. Scorpion. I was always Scorpion. Scorpion is so freaking cool, man. I love the attacks that he has. Obviously the shooting the little arrow, the rope thing out of his hand, and just so cool. I don't even know what to call it right now, but he would shoot that out, he'd drag you in, and then you'd be woozy or whatever, and then you'd uppercut him and he'd go to the next level above you, and I loved that game so much. I also loved like the fatalities that they would do where he'd like take the mask off and he was like the skull that was on fire, and like he just torched the person that he was fighting. I liked him in the Mortal Kombat movies, right? So,
that was the best scene in that Mortal Kombat movie.
I just wish there was more of him in it.
Like through the bamboo and stuff, and he was like...
Right, and you hear, get over here! It's one of the best lines.
When the harpoon thing came out of his hand.
Dude, that thing was so cool. Looking back on it now, like the graphic, the special effects aren't as good, but when that movie was coming out, man, anyway, so... I love Scorpion. I do wish he was a little bit more in the movie. He was always my go-to character, so much so that... I think it was MK3 when they had a whole bunch. They had Cyrax and Cyborg too that they added.
Oh, I love those guys.
I always picked the yellow one because he's basically Scorpion, and he'd shoot out the net, the cyber net thing that would come and grab him. But Scorpion, so awesome. The MK games got to a point where they were a little bit on the too gruesome side for me to like play regularly. Some of those. Yeah, but I mean, like some of the maybe it's just the detail that it would go into. With
that went pretty detailed.
I love that character. He's just awesome. I guess he's a villain. He is whatever. But they kind of all fought each other, so it is what it is. So I love Scorpion, and he is my George. What do you guys thoughts on
pick? That? He was
awesome
the guy.
Pick, man.
He was definitely the guy fighting for Mario's spot. It was Scorpion.
So question here then, are you team Scorpion or team Sub-Zero? And that really says a lot.
Scorpion all day. I played both
Sub-Zero.
of them.
Okay.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah, I will say they're both, in my opinion, the best 2 characters.
Right.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Easy.
And I could go back and forth, but my go-to was always Scorpion, and I'm gonna tell you why. That throw in the harpoon was the easiest move in the whole game. It was the easiest move in the whole game. So when you're learning
left, right, B or something.
Oh yeah,
so easy. Yeah.
That was cool. And then his story is cool. So if his story, like a lot of people, avenged their girlfriend's death or whatever. This dude avenged his own death. So he dies and comes back to come and basically haunt Sub-Zero because Sub-Zero killed him. And now he's an undead ninja. And so he always had the best finishers. Get over here. That is the flagship for Mortal Kombat. I mean, it is what it is. Later
next to whoopsie.
My favorite guy, though, my favorite character ever was Cabal in Part 3.
He is really cool.
Dude,
when he'd run off the screen and he'd make the guy and then just tear him up. So so my number 4, I went through about 4 different fighting games, right? The Killer Instinct, I was thinking of a couple of those guys, the Cyborg and the Tomahawk guy, and then Mortal Kombat, you got the ninjas, and then Street Fighter, Ryu, and whatever. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna I don't love any of these any different than the others because I love all those games. That's just the main character I like. But Scorpion he's probably Benjamin. He's probably Benjamin for me. Yep, he's a good character.
Okay. So where are you going with your George, Kirk? What you got?
I am going to go with my George, my favorite video game franchise ever. I think I've owned all of them that I could own with the systems that I have. Now that I got the Switch, it was one of the first games that I purchased, was one of the ones that I hadn't had already that was remade for it. It was one of the best PlayStation games. It is the reason I went PlayStation and not Xbox. I know a lot of people are on the Halos or the Doom or Call of Duty and all these different things that brought Xbox and Microsoft just mega boom. But this one to me is why I could never go over, because this game, not until later renditions, were never on the Xbox. And so their very first game started on Nintendo, and then they had 2 of them on Super Nintendo, and then it jumped to PlayStation. And the best rendition of all of them, Final Fantasy VII, I'm going with Cloud Strife. Dude, he's the flagship of all of them. I probably have played... Look, I know I keep saying I've played so many hours or whatever. These games have literally taken weeks off of my life. I've spent
months,
weeks and weeks. And look, I mentioned already, I'm a completist. I don't want to just go beat the guy. I want everything. I want to find the secret weapons. I want to get all the materia. I want to get everything possible to collect. Right. I had the original Final Fantasy game. It's down here too. And it's one of the most valuable games. But in that one, there were no characters. You picked like a fighter or a ninja. It wasn't a ninja. He was a black belt, and then he turned into a ninja. But I would play that game 700 times with different combinations. But on this one, I remember clearly, I almost took a couple other characters. There were some really good bad guys in this. Sephiroth and the Jester guy from 5. I can't think of his name right now. But gosh, there were so many. Titus from 10. But Cloud in Final Fantasy VII was just probably, in my opinion, the best game ever. It would be my George if we did that. It isn't the best game ever. It's not the GOAT. There are many games that have surpassed it by now. I know they've remade it now, and it's coming out in parts, because this was like eight discs or something. It was like 6 discs. They're all falling out.
Goodness.
It's all falling out. But like, you play the game and you get to a spot where you have to put another disc in. Anyways, Cloud was cool. The coolest thing about him, he had spiky hair. He's all like Japanese anime style. His sword, I mean, you can see his sword on here.
The Buster Sword.
Freaking humongous, right? It brought in combos and in real, like you could play in real time, or you could play like time based or whatever. I was always the real time guy. I wanted to play as fast as I possibly could and try and what killed me was, this is the very first time, and I've played several games since then that are very much like this, like God of War. Man, I haven't mentioned it already, but Kratos almost made my list. He's freaking awesome, and he looks really cool with that new beard he's got. But this was the first time I played a game where one enemy lasted almost an hour and a half. Like, dude, you fought the end guy in this. I had to pause it, go to the bathroom, get some food, come back, and I'm still fighting the same guy. And I've beaten it several times. It is my favorite. It is my go-to. It is my favorite style of game. And because of that, I've learned to love other role-playing games. But yep, number 1, he was going to be George from the get-go. The only reason Link couldn't be it. Cloud Strife.
They're such a good pick. Final Fantasy games are amazing.
Number 1.
He is probably my second favorite Final Fantasy person, only to Titus, who you mentioned earlier. I only owned like PlayStation 2 for Final Fantasy X. Like that was my favorite one of all time. The storyline there was awesome. Just like in 7, I freaking love Cloud. I love that pick. And Sephiroth is probably the hardest boss ever of all time.
Yeah, dude, it was. And the music. Dun, dun, dun. Oh gosh, I'm like in it right now. Like I want to get the sword out.
Yeah, I'm not a big RPG fan. I don't know what it is. Like I don't like attack. Like I didn't like those. It's unless it was Pokemon. Like for whatever reason, I just liked it because of everything else. But I just
and
never.
You bring up Pokemon, and I was shocked. I was really shocked. That's not one of your 4.
So, but I think of Pokemon more as, and I know obviously it's a video game, and right there's all those. I always just go to the cartoon though.
I do
like,
too.
That's my more so than the games is the cartoon. Or even the card game to me, right? So
yeah, and see, that's why Pokemon didn't make my list, is because another criteria I had was that it had to be a game first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good one. Yeah. All right, so Paul, you have shocked everyone. I could have swore that Link was going to be your George based on obvious reasons, but since you don't have the costume of who your George is, why don't you let people know who's your number one? What's your number one?
All right, so like I said, Link up until about 20 minutes now ago was the George, but thinking on it, man, it has to be.
Oh no, is he switching? What's he doing?
The Master Chief. Man, I have loved Halo since it came out on the original Xbox. From the LAN parties you had playing with your friends at your house and hooking up Xboxes to get some, 8-on-8 or 4v4s, I have so many fond memories of it. But no, he's just the coolest character he's like the futuristic Superman. There was about 100 Spartans that started it off. These are like enhanced kids, and towards the beginning of the first one, he's the only known one that's still alive. From the games, they spawned like 20 something books, man. I like literally have them all, like the backstory you get for this game is insane. And that's one of the reasons I love games so much, is that little escape from reality you get, and you get to just dive in. And he's awesome. I mean, he always puts humanity before himself. He is constantly just doing the impossible. And what more do you want out of a character than to be able to do the impossible and live through it and do it?
That's awesome. That was the game I remember as being like the multiplayer aspect of it was so cool. But it was one of those first ones that I remember being like, hey, stop looking at my screen. Stop figuring out where I'm at. Like, I remember those fights constantly, unless you had, like, the cool connection where you could, like the LAN parties where you could be in different screens and things like that. But, man, great pick. Master Chief.
So let me just come out here. I remember when the Xbox came out. I remember it had to have been... And I haven't looked this up, but it had to have been about 2002, 2. Anyways, I remember being in Biloxi, stationed in the Air Force, and I would always be playing PlayStation, and somebody there was like, dude, Xbox it's blowing up. And I remember it was so hard to get. And Halo was one of the flagship games that was coming out or kind of attached to it. And I didn't really have any intrigue because I was so into probably Final Fantasy X or 9 or 8 at the time, like just playing like so much. And it screwed me up, to be honest. Like it screwed me up because I really wanted to be good at these games. I really wanted to play these games. So look, I went to Iraq, come back from Iraq, and then while I was in Iraq, I ordered my Xbox, which is that same one right there. So it is 17 years old or something. It's one of the original ones. And I ordered both of the Halos. And look, I played this game as much as I could. And I just come to realize I was so far behind everybody else. I am not good at a first-person shooter game. I am just not good. I know the Call of Duties are it. I know, like, one of my favorite games, I almost had. So fighter guys were fighting for this spot. Kratos was fighting for this spot, Rosie. And my last guy that was fighting was Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid. And I love that game. That's about the closest, other than GoldenEye, that I had ever gotten to, like, first-person shooter, that I was actually pretty decent. But I'm not good at these things. I'm not good. Like, I'm the guy who's, like, shooting up here. People are just I'm like over there. Like, Fortnite and all these games come out, and I'm just horrendous. My son's like, I want to play Fortnite, Dad. And I'm like, I'm the wrong guy. I am the wrong guy. I can't log in. I can't figure it out. I just can't I'm not good at these games. And I own both of them. I've just never been good. So I didn't buy the rest. I got Gears of War. That game was so freaking cool. I sucked. I couldn't get anywhere in it. I just loved watching other people play it. So there's my rant. That's why Master Chief wasn't on mine. I'm just terrible at these games, dude. I wish I was better.
Great pick. I'm actually, obviously Master Chief didn't make my list too, but it's one of those ones where if you're Googling greatest, video game characters, Master Chief probably makes every list.
Well, he's on our thumbnail. I mean, right, I knew it. Like, he is probably the George of characters for 90% of people under the age of 30.
Right. Yeah.
I would honestly probably say maybe
even 35.
He'd probably be the closest to overtaking Mario as the most well known.
Okay.
What do you think about the new show? Did you watch it?
I'm afraid to. I've heard bad things.
It hadn't gotten very good reviews.
I'm so afraid to. I'll just stick with reading the books.
So I want to watch it, but I didn't play all the games, didn't read 700 of the books, and I'm really nervous that I'm even going to know what's going on. There you go, man. That was a good list. Yeah.
We made it through the Rushmore video game characters, man.
So we had we had one triple Crushmore and then another Crushmore. So there we go.
Yeah. Awesome. Great picks all around. There are so many, Kirk, and you throughout the day, we've really kind of mentioned the ones that didn't make our list. Let me tell you one that I had a hard time kicking off, and it didn't make anybody else's list, but I remember this game being so fun, was Earthworm Jim. I love that game.
I almost was like, this would be a fun one to put in because, like, Toe Jam and Earl, or like,
oh my gosh, yeah, Battletoads.
I was kind of thinking of some of those
Crash Bandicoot,
Sonic the Hedgehog,
Spyro the Dragon,
Ratchet and Clank.
Gosh, I don't want to ruin
Spyro the Dragon.
Yes, in 2 weeks we're going to do N64, and listen. If you're watching this one, you're watching later. I'll just give you a little spoiler alert. What's happening? One of my favorite games for the N64 was Banjo-Kazooie. I love those games. Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie was the second one, and you could actually control the bird too, which was kind of cool. But those are great. But those kind, Crash
all
Bandicoot,
the fighting guys, like Pit from Kid Icarus. He's one of my favorite characters in Smash Brothers. We talked about Smash Brothers. Link was always my go-to. Link is who I played with. I mean, he's just the guy.
Every single time.
Star Fox. Come on, Fox McCloud. Come on, you got that. You've got one that I almost
makes my wife's.
Nice.
So Jill Valentine from Resident Evil.
Knuckles from Sonic. I didn't have Sonic on mine, but I had Knuckles on mine.
Robotnik. I mean, bad guys. Dr. Wily almost made it. I mean, there's a lot of
I'm surprised we don't have more bad guys. Like, there's so many good bad guy characters.
There are so many good bad guys.
You said you almost had Bowser. So that would have been a great one.
The thing is, here's the thing. I knew Link. I knew Mega Man, and I knew I was picking a Final Fantasy character. I knew it. I knew without a shadow of a doubt. So everybody was fighting for the 4 spot, and I don't know. I just couldn't keep Mario off. I just couldn't do it. So,
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Come on, I mean, there's a lot.
There you go. So I didn't play that game. I did watch the movie with Angelina Jolie. I did see the game. I just didn't own that game. So I knew that game is amazing. It's really good. But yeah, There's a lot of really cool. Kratos, to me, the new games that he has, PlayStation 5, this new one where he's running around with his son. I've watched this game. I've never even played it. It is fantastic. It is just amazing. I almost put him, not even had played that version. I have the first two for PlayStation and whatever. But anyways, great games. Had fun.
Good picks all around. It has been a great time. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to go ahead and move into our second segment, and we're going to bring back an oldie but a goodie. We're going to bring back the OG of second segments. We're going to bring back a segment that we like to call Who's Your George?
Let's go. All right, Rushmore Show community, we brought back one of our favorites, Who's Your George? In the past, Who's Your George has always been a 1-minute showdown with either Andy or I or a guest, and it would just be who is your top, your favorite of certain topics. We named off certain questions and see how many they could get in 1 minute. Since we're going to go with all three of us today, we're going to play a special type of game. We're going to see how fast we can do Who's Your George, 10 questions apiece, and whoever has the fastest time knocking out them would be our winner for today, and they will win a brand new Game Boy Color. Just kidding. So look, we're going to just jump in. Andy's going to ask me. I'm going to ask Paul, and Paul's going to ask Andy. And to keep with all fairness, the person that's not playing will keep the time. So there you go.
So, and then also, these may all be different questions. We didn't talk about our questions other than the fact that it's around the theme of video games, right?
Yep.
So other than that, I don't know what is going to be asked to me. Kirk doesn't know at all, but we do know that it's 10 questions around this theme. So is everybody ready? Paul, you're ready to keep time. Kirk, you're ready to answer. We're good to go. So you'll start the time as soon as I am done asking my first question, Paul. Okay? Does that make sense? All right.
Roger.
So, Kirk, you're ready for this, right? Let's see how quick you can get these 10 done. Who's your George? Here we go. Controllers.
Oh, NES Max.
Consoles.
Super Nintendo.
Video game song.
We do this. Super Mario Bros.
Okay, difficult game.
Battletoads for Nintendo.
Obscure game.
A Boy and His Blob.
Company, like video game company.
Capcom.
Video game movie.
Tomb Raider.
Sports game.
Baseball Stars for Nintendo.
Computer game.
Oh, Thief.
Game on your phone.
Angry Birds.
Stop. That's it.
All right. 43.66 seconds.
Respectable.
43.
That's respectable.
43.66. So let me jot this down so we know. Kirk, you got yours. 43 points. So if we were doing the original rules of you would have had it under a minute. You would have had all 10 questions. So that's respectable. That's great. That is great.
Love that.
So
all right.
Let me pull up my stopwatch so I know where we're at here. Okay, so now Kirk is going to ask Paul a set of 10 questions, and we will see how quick you can answer yours. Paul, are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. So, so just saying this, a couple of those questions that you asked me are on mine as well, Andy. So here we go. Starting with our first one. Who is your George video game developer?
Ooh, oh man, too many. Oh God, Valve.
System.
Xbox.
Game from that system.
Master Chief Collection.
Movie.
Video game movie. Oh man. Jeez. And I am failing right now. There's too many. Oh.
Just pick anyone.
Just give me Mortal Kombat.
All right. Side scroller game.
Man, I'm bad at this. You have some really tough questions. Give me the second Zelda.
Fighting game character.
Sub-Zero.
Classic game.
Regular Zelda.
And song.
Song, Final Fantasy X theme.
Time.
1 minute, 4 seconds, and 43 milliseconds. 104, 43.
That was rough.
Oh, man. Okay, so then that 104, 43. Let me make sure I get that right. Okay, so there we go.
Last. Just right last.
All right. Well, you don't know, so I still have to go. I still have to go here. Paul, you're going to ask me the questions.
No, my questions are like child's play compared to that.
What's your favorite algorithm? No. Okay, here we go.
Hold on.
Wait.
ABC.
Are you on what? ABC? What are you ABCing?
And I eliminated the hard ones. I thought I did.
So Kirk came to play today.
I have to beat 4366, right? Is that right? 40. Let's see. I wrote it down. 4366. I have to beat.
All right. I am ready when you are.
All right. Here we go. Right. So it's my turn. 4366 is the number to beat.
Ready? Here we go. Who is your George for your Super Smash Bros. Character?
Star Fox.
First-person shooter game.
Halo.
Adventure game.
Adventure game? Zelda?
Like Zelda.
Zelda.
Okay. RPG game.
RPG Pokemon.
Your game villain.
Game villain? Venom. I don't know. Yes. Venom.
Best console.
N64.
Sidekick.
Tails.
Favorite Pokemon.
Pikachu.
Fighting game.
Fighting game would be Street Fighter.
Opening theme for a game.
Pokemon.
Okay.
Oh!
What did I do?
Drum roll. And Andy lands with 42 seconds.
Yes!
And
Come on. Wow, I didn't think I would do it. I don't even know, did those count? Venom? He was a villain in a game somewhere. It's just
I giggled on that one, but that's okay.
I don't know if they
all fairness, and just looking back, I only gave Paul 8 questions. So
I was going to say, I was counting as we went. So.
Well, there you go. Who's your George video game style 3-way challenge? Andy, you are the defending champ moving forward. And, man, great show today. Great, dude, name some great characters. I know that other people out there are going to be throwing them down. Can't wait to see the boomers and what they pick, the battles or whatever.
Cubert. They got Cubert.
Yeah.
Mr. Game & Watch.
Yeah, and so then we got the boomers. We got the millennials. They're going to pick all 80s and early 90s. And now you Gen Zers and all those guys are really coming forward with these new games. So, look, video games are here to stay. It's one of the biggest mediums. I'll just go out here and throw this out. In my class with when I was in ministry school, we were tasked in the sociology class to figure out a way to do church that didn't already exist. And more than one person did video game style church in the chat room. And it's just, it's the way our young kids think it is. Everybody's plugged in. I'm constantly sitting in the recliner, fumbling on my phone. Video games are here to stay. And we just named some giants when it comes to characters. Paul, thank you for coming in cosplay. I can't wait to go to a con with you and go and see you in full action. Right? Yeah. So
thanks for having me again, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Paul, you're going to be a mainstay here. We just know it. You have been amazing. Thank you for being a part. What do you think, Andy?
I think this has been a great episode. This is a great start to one of the months that I'm most looking forward to. Hey, next week, guys, give you a little sneak peek. We've got our good buddy, Max Parish. He's a youth pastor here locally, kind of where I am. We both know him.
Freestyle rapper.
He's a rapper, right? He loves games. He's a collector. Just had a kid. He's a brand new dad. So I say just had a kid. It's been a couple months, but
great
yeah.
Guy,
so
great guy.
He's a great guy. So that's next month. That's next week. And then I also
arcade games, and then we're bringing Nintendo 64, right?
Yes.
My buddy Joe. Look, Joe is big on YouTube as well. He's got like 10, 11,000 followers doing the prophetic word online. He's one of the guys I kind of go to, trying to give me help us with our channel. So that's 3 amazing shows, and then we're gonna finish the month off with what?
We have on the 4th week of this month. It is going to be our 6-month special. We are planning something awesome for you guys. We're gonna have some old friends on here. We're gonna kind of talk about where we've come or how far we've come. We just got some fun stuff planned for you. It's gonna be a great way to celebrate our half birthday here at the Rushmore Show. We want to celebrate anything that we can. And again, yeah, like you're saying, this is all because of the Rushmore community. Thank you guys for just commenting, sharing, just making this fun. Look, when we started this, not getting really into, we'll probably talk about this some in the episode there for the 6 month. But when we got into this was literally just a conversation between me and Kirk in his kitchen most of the time. This is where we would have these conversations, and we would have never thought it would be.
Dude, I need to film from the kitchen, because that's right where it happens, baby.
Well, that's actually the first 4 episodes. Well, the first 2
partially
episodes, whatever.
Yeah.
We're kind of in your dining area. So anyway, thank you, Rushmore community. And hey, with that said, make sure you're commenting on this video. Let us know what did we miss? Like, what are some characters? Obviously, we mentioned a lot that we missed, but what are some ones that you're like, nah, that dude should not be on your list? Here's what it should be like. Let us know in the comments. Comment on other people's. Let's have some great conversation together. You guys have already been doing that, so it's so awesome.
I've got a challenge for everybody. Share this with at least one person, and then go back if you've missed some of the old episodes and check those out and throw a comment there. Everything has been helping us out. Our algorithm is flying out the roof, and it's only because of you guys. Yeah. I'm so surprised that anybody wants to listen to me, Andy, much less talk about a ranking of something. But we knew it was going to be a fun conversation. It was a good way to stay connected. So I love all you guys out there. Thank you.
Yep, so subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that stuff. And hey, look, always remember this. This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4 and
nothing more.
Peace!